Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Shraddham Swakatha Kṛṣṇa Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridentasto Bhadrani Vidunoti Sursatam Nashtaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Nashtiti Om Jnana-Timandasya Jnana-Shalakya Chakshur-Militam-Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vācālam Pangum Ladmaya-Yate-Giri Yat-Kripātalamam Vande Shri-Gurum Dīna-Tāranam Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we will be covering Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 89. Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna retrieve of Brāhmaṇa's sons. And the same chapter in Kṛṣṇa book is referred to as like the super excellent, excellence of Lord Shri Krishna. So that's what is going to be the focus as well, along with a pastime where Krishna participated in some of his characteristics as well, and Lord Krishna saved him again. So let's go to the very first verse, as is the custom. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 89, first verse. Śrīśuta uvaca Sarasvatyastate rajan Rishya Satramasata Vitarka Sambhabhuta Tesham Trishva Diksheshu Komahan. Śrīśuta Vacha, Shukdev Goswami said, Sarasvatyaha, of the river Saraswati, Tate, on the bank, Rajan, O King Parikshit, Rishyaha, sages, Satram, a Vedic sacrifice, Asata, were performing, Vitarkaha, a disagreement, Samabhut, arose, Tesham, among them, Trishu, among the three, Adiksheshu, chief lords, Kaha, who, Mahan, the greatest. Translation that the disciples of His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami said, once, O king, as a group of sages were performing a Vedic sacrifice on the banks of the Saraswati river, a controversy arose among them as to which of the three chief deities is supreme. Purport: the three chief deities mentioned here are Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva. Hare Krishna. So, this particular narration, Shukdev Goswami said right after he narrated how Lord Shiva was saved from Bhasmasura, the one who received the wound but was immediately ready to test it out on Lord Shiva himself.
Is it 1089?
Yes. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 89, as I stated earlier. So here, it started with not Lord Krishna's pastime, it started with a much earlier pastime that had happened in the past. And this was the time where the sages were not even aware of the primary creation. So this is the time where the Saptarishis and all the great sages, they gathered at the bank of Saraswati River. And there they were performing this Satra sacrifice. And during the sacrifice, they were trying to identify, what is the purpose of the sacrifice, of course, and so forth. And there arose, as you are making the offering, there arose a doubt. So tarka, vitarka, those are the terms. Tarka is, something said in favor, and then vitarka, and that's the word stated here. Vitarka samabhutesha. So an argument arose among them. Who is the greatest? Some were saying Lord Brahma is the greatest. Another group was saying Lord Shiva is the greatest. Ashutosh is easily pleased, he is the enemy. And then others were saying Lord Krishna is the greatest. So they designated a personality, Sage Prabhu. He was given the charge. Now who is Sage Prabhu? It's interesting to know. He is son of Lord Brahma. So if given a choice, you would basically favor the personality who's close to you, right? Yet at the same time, Sage Prabhu, being situated in the mode of goodness, he decided that he would test on one specific quality. And that quality is tolerance. He, in his heart, made this determination that tolerance is surely a sign of greatness. So whoever is most tolerant will be the greatest. So with that mindset here, started on his journey to discover who's the greatest among the three. And when we look at this particular topic, tolerance, it connects us to the day we have today in a second. What's the day today? It's Mother's Day, right? And mothers, they are of all the relationships we know, and of the characteristics mothers have, the most notable characteristic is tolerance. When the baby is taking in the womb, right after, as they are coming to that stage, do they kick back to the baby? No, they are very tolerant. Actually, they become jubilant. That here, baby is kicking. From say somebody kicks us, we become annoyed with that gesture itself. It's a gesture of, offense, first of all, and then it's actually disrespectful to kick someone. Yet at the same time, mothers become jubilant and the baby is kicking them in the way. So they're very tolerant. And from the very early stage, we see mothers practicing tolerance. And when seeing mothers, we realize, how tolerant we should be. And tolerance is actually a reflection of love. Like we had Gita during Holi here. And during that time, there was one exercise where people were given glasses, right? And those glasses were colored differently. Some glasses were red, some were, had red glasses. So anyone who saw through red glasses, they saw everything red. Someone, they saw through the green glass, they saw everything green. So, when we put on the glass of love, what we say is, we can be more tolerant. So that's the characteristic we show. Just like a person wearing red glass is showing, seeing and showing that everything else is red accordingly. So we see a person's behavior and it's a reflection of love that the tolerance shows of a person. So as Bhrigu, he started his journey. And some of the interesting thing is he is highly elevated. And as he was in the company of these sages also included the Saptarishis, Brihaspati was also there. And Bhrigu is father of Shukracharya. So, he's, of course, his progeny is also highly scholarly. So as Bhrigu, he proceeded, first he went to Brahmalok, Satyalok. And in front of Lord Brahma, when he approached Lord Brahma, he didn't pay obeisances and he didn't give any respect. Now that's pretty offensive, right? Means of all the living entities in this material world, he's the first living entity, Lord Brahma. And doesn't get any respect or any prayers or any response from someone who's coming in front of him. So Lord Brahma becomes very angry. However, knowing that Jiva is his son, fathers can be tolerant at times, right? With his intelligence, he was able to subdue that anger. And Srila Prabhupada writes also that this is just like, as water, which is produce of fire, can extinguish fire, of course, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And he elaborates that, from earth, water, fire, ether. So fire comes air, from air comes earth, water, and then from water comes earth. So even though water is a product of fire, it can extinguish fire. Similarly, by the mood of goodness in his mind is with his intelligence, he is able to subdue that anger. However, he was not completely able to hide it. So Brahmaṇa, he noticed that his father got angry. So he left at that time. Again, when he is living, there is no description of paying obeisances at that time also, he just left. Then he reached Mount Kailash. And who's at Mount Kailash?
Shiva.
Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, as soon as he sees Bhrigu Muni approaching, he immediately gets up from his seat and walks forward to embrace his brother. And as Lord Shiva is about to embrace, Bhrigu says, "Oh, you are a deviant ascetic. You are not pure, you are very impure, because you smear all these ashes on your body." And where is this ashes? Where all these ashes coming from? Yeah, so, from the graveyard and similar places. And so hearing this, Lord Shiva becomes very angry. Rudra, right? That's another name of Lord Shiva. Becomes very angry and he picks up his trident on this occasion, about to kill Brahmaṇa. And then Goddess Bhāgavata intervenes and she calms him down. So when Lord Shiva is, somehow able to subdue his anger, Brahmaṇa again leaves without having further conversation with his brother. Now he goes to Shvetadvi, Vaikuntha, and he is going, and what does he see? That Lord Vishnu is nicely resting on the bedstead of Anantashesh, the 1,000-footed serpent. And his feet is being pressed by who? Goddess Lakshmi. So this is the scene, and of course Lord Vishnu is in Yoga Nidra. It's not regular Nidra like we have. Our Nidra is full of ignorance. His Nidra is full of transcendental bliss. He's maintaining all the universes and all the affairs of the universe. So approaching Lord Vishnu, he thinks of doing something which is very offensive. And Srila Prabhupada describes he actually commits 3 kinds of offenses. First, he commits offenses by his mind. Then second, by his words. And third, by his action. So every next action is actually much more grievous than the previous one. With his mind, an offense, is not as, because it's not apparent and you just perform the mind, but still it's an offense. And then, with his words, now he's speaking it, and that is something that the receiver can receive. From the mind it can only be perceived through the senses. But the words can be very well received and can pierce someone's heart. It's said that words can be stronger than the swords at times. If you remember somebody said Bhagavata to you and how you felt, it doesn't make you feel good, and all those emotions emerge in your heart. And then the third offense he does is, he kicks the chest of Lord Vishnu with his feet. The biggest offense. And when he does that, what's the reaction? Lord Vishnu, being the master of all the universes, he immediately gets up and pays obeisances to Brahmaṇa. And seeing her husband doing this, what is Goddess Lakshmi going to do? She also gets up along with him and pays obeisances. Seeing the mood of her husband, she pays obeisances to Bhrigu Muni. And Lord Vishnu at that time says, "Oh, forgive us, great sage Bhrigu Muni, that we did not welcome you properly." So first he is saying that we didn't welcome you, so maybe that's why you are so upset. And then second he is saying is that, are your feet okay? Because your feet are as soft as what? Lotus flowers. And my chest is like a thunderbolt. So when a lotus flower and thunderbolt will meet, who will get hurt more? Of course, the lotus flower, right? Not the thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is so powerful. So he starts massaging Bhrigu Muni's feet. And Bhrigu Muni at that time, he's surprised, he's astonished, flabbergasted, right? Like, I just kicked him and he's pressing my feet, thinking that my feet are hurt, not taking any offense whatsoever. But at the same time, he just stands there, and then after that, he leaves. However, this incident in the purport, also in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada explains, is not taken, very well by Goddess Lakshmi. Because one of the reasons that Lord Vishnu has said was that now that your feet have touched my chest, it is removed of all the vices. And that's where Goddess Lakshmi resides. So I don't think she will go again, because by nature, Goddess Lakshmi is called Chanchala. Chanchala is very flickering. So sometimes she comes to Vaikuntha, then sometimes she goes to fulfill the wishes of her devotees, and then, so she doesn't stay at the same place for a long time. And also, like in some families, Srila Prabhupada explains in Krishna book, if someone is very rich, after a few generations, the same family becomes poor. And someone who's very poor, after a few generations, they can become very rich. And even within a lifetime, a person can go through richness and poverty. So that is the case with Goddess Lakshmi. And Lord Vishnu is assuring Bhrigu Muni that now that it's free of all the vices, Goddess Lakshmi would never want to leave this, my chest. But Goddess Lakshmi, she's like, oh, she is not benevolently disposed since then towards Brahmanas. And generally Brahmanas are poor because of that factor. She withholds her benediction. And sometimes in Kali age, some of the Brahmanas, they misunderstand this pastime and they think that we are so great that we can kick Lord Vishnu's chest. Oh no, that's a big offense. It's just that Srila Prabhupada explains that Bhrigu Muni was not a Vaishnava at this time. He had not realized the supremacy of Lord Vishnu. And so he had acted in this manner. If he was a Vaishnava, he would never act in the manner he acted. And it being a great offense, it actually is regarded in that manner. And we feel very sorry for that action as a Brahmana that he did. Because he himself is supposed to be showing what quality? Tolerance, right? In Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, the verse 42 explains the characteristics of a Brahmana, which is Shamu Namastapaha Shachan, Shantir Ajam Evacha, Jnana Vijnanam, Astikyan, Brahmankar Swabhavacha. So, the word Kshantir, it's not Shantir, it's Kshantir, with a half K, half K, which means tolerance. So Brahmanas by nature should be very tolerant. And then, yet at the same time, it shows that even though one can be tolerant, there is a limit to that tolerance. And when one is pushed beyond that limit, the true nature comes out. So Bhrigu Muni in this particular case goes back to the bank of river Saraswati and shares his experiences with the other sages. And everyone concludes, who is the Supreme? Lord Vishnu is the Supreme. So this is again at the time when people were not aware of the primary creation. This is the secondary creation where the three deities, are referred to as like Lord Brahma. He is in the mode, controlling of the mode of passion and is responsible for creation of the material universe. Lord Vishnu is in control of the mode of goodness and he is the maintainer of the universe. And Lord Shiva is control of the mode of ignorance and is responsible to destroy the material universe. So they are performing these three activities, and along with all the suras, Lord Indra, he is the king of the suras. Now, also very nicely it is described, now that we are talking about three modes of material nature. We might want to know what are the people called in those three modes, right? In mode of ignorance, person who is in mode of ignorance is called Rakshasas. They are all Rakshasas, demons, demonic nature. Shri Shri Ganataya ki Jaya. Shri Shri Radha Madan ki Jaya. Shri Shri Sitaram Vishnu Hanuman ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nanda Kare Vishnu ki Jai. And the persons who are in the mode of passion, the basically materialists, and are referred to as asuras. And persons who are in the mode of goodness are referred to as suras, which is demigods, right? They are all suras. Now further, Śrīmad Goswami continues to elaborate on another pastime, where in Dwarka, during the Brāhmaṇa, he was very close to Lord Krishna's one of the palaces. And there, this Brāhmaṇa, he will have, he and his wife, they will have a baby. But as soon as the baby was born, the baby would die. And so this Brāhmaṇa, he would go to Kṛṣṇa's palace and he would shout very loudly and he would blaspheme. Whoa, big word. King Kṛṣṇa, calling him Shatru Bandhu. Again, they are Dvish Bandhus, that, people who are born, the progeny of one of the twice born personalities, like Brāhmaṇas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, they are called twice born. Because first birth is at the time of, when the birth really happens, the physical birth. And then the second is when the samskars have been, when you have gone through that samskar, kriya and so forth. And you attain initiation in one of the varnas. And people who cannot attain samskars, they Shudra. And so they are just Shudra. So sometimes it so happens that in Brahmana's family, a baby is born, but the baby, when he grows up, or she grows up, they do not attain the qualities, they do not go through the samskars. So they are called Brāhmana Bandhu. Similarly, Kshatriyas, if they do not attain and go through the samskars of a Kshatriya, then they are called Kshatriya Bandhu. And similarly, there is Vaishya Bandhu. So he is calling King Kṛṣṇa that King Kṛṣṇa is not performing his duties, because as the head of the state, there are three qualities he should have. First of all, he should have the qualities of a Kshatriya. He should be a good administrator. And a good administrator will not let even, any of the other miseries, Adidevic miseries occur in his kingdom. So there will not be any flood, there will not be any drought. None of those factors would be there. And everything would be nicely arranged. But here what is happening is sons are getting killed, and which is very grievous thing to happen. Because when a father and mother, they are young and a baby dies, that's very sad incident. So he's saying. And then the second he is saying is that he's not performing all the religious duties that he is supposed to be performing. So when the head of the administration, he is performing his duties, he is taking taxes from the citizens. And there is some reaction if not performed properly. So in this particular case, which comes to the third quality, where he should be selfless. So selfishness should not have self-interest in becoming rich. That's the third quality an administrator should have. So he should be completely devoted towards performing the welfare of the people in this case. And so he was saying, and who are all are there? He's addressing as well who are not able to protect his progeny. He's addressing Lord Kṛṣṇa. He cannot protect my progeny. There is Balaram, Ananta. He cannot protect my progeny. Then he is saying Pradyumna, the great general. He cannot protect my progeny. Aniruddha. All these generals, all these great Kshatriyas are there, and my children are dying one after another. And this happens not once, not twice. How many times does it happen? 9 times. And on the 10th time, on the 9th occasion, when he was saying all this stuff, it so happens that Arjuna is present in Dwarka. Now this particular incident where that Arjuna is present in Dwarka is after the Kurukshetra war. Because if Arjuna had all the siddhis and all the capabilities, at this time, he would have to take that war when Abhimanyu was killed. He would have just retrieved Abhimanyu. We will understand after this particular pastime. It just so happens that Arjuna hears this and he couldn't believe it. And he says, "Oh Brāhmaṇa, don't worry, I will protect your progeny. If you have another baby on the way, then I'll protect that baby." Very much assuring the Brāhmaṇa. And Brāhmaṇa, he doesn't pay much attention to Vachu's words. He's like, when Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balaram, Pradyumna and Aniruddha couldn't protect, how will you protect? And Arjuna says, oh, now this is where the passion, mode of passion is prominent in Arjuna. He says, oh, I'm not Kṛṣṇa or Balaram. I'm Arjuna. The bearer of the Gandiva bow. So he's showing his prowess. Realizing that, not even realizing that in Bhagavad Gita, during Kurukshetra war, in the beginning itself, Lord Kṛṣṇa said, Parusham Vishu, all the ability in man, and the ability in man, right? So Arjuna, forgetting all that, in the mode of passion, he is overcome by the mode of passion. And Srila Prabhupada has so nicely explained that sometimes Lord Kṛṣṇa puts Arjuna in this state to teach him a lesson, right? And in this particular case, Arjuna, further he goes, says, okay, maybe Gandiva is not enough, he continues. Because he's seeing, once again, he is to see that confidence appear in the expressions of the Brāhmaṇa. So he's saying, and I am the one who even satisfied Lord Shiva. And he gave me his Pashupata weapon. So I bear divine weapons as well, not just the Gandiva bow. So at that time, Brāhmaṇa, he is somewhat satisfied. Okay, there is a personality, he is proving his qualification. I can put my faith in him. So that's the interesting thing. Srila Prabhupada also made a distinction between religion and dharma. Dharma is our eternal nature, while religion is more associated with faith. And our faith can change, right? Today someone who is a Hindu can become a Christian, someone who is a Christian can become a Hindu, someone who is a Muslim can become a Christian, and back and forth. So that's related to faith. Your faith can easily change. But in dharma, your eternal nature cannot change. Jivera Sarupoi Krishna Nityadas. So if you are not serving Krishna, you end up serving one of the energies of Krishna. No, nevertheless, our very nature is to serve, so we end up serving. That's dharma. So in this particular case, Arjuna, having assured the Brāhmaṇa, is feeling very nice. Okay, I'm going to take care of things, take care of the matter of affairs. That Lord Krishna will take care, right? And it just so happens for the 10th time, the Brahmana's wife is expecting a baby. And the Brahmana immediately comes to Arjuna. And he says, Arjuna, come, protect my baby. He's on his way. So Arjuna, when he comes to know that next, he has to go, Arjuna is meditating on who? Lord Shiva, not Lord Kṛṣṇa. He's meditating on Lord Shiva. Because he says Lord Kṛṣṇa can protect. So he's not qualified enough. So I have to look at some other authority. And this is a sign of a less intelligent man. In Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa explained to Arjuna that they take shelter of one of the demigods. And Arjuna takes all his device weapons, including the Pashupata Shastra. And then he goes to the Brāhmaṇa's house. And it just so happened that at night time itself, he covers the whole hut of the Brāhmaṇa. From all sides, from top, from bottom, and from all the sides. As well as south, east, west, and north, east, north, south, southeast, southwest. All 10 directions are covered. He's feeling confident. And then, near the sunrise time, the baby is born, they hear the voice, and instantly what happens? The baby is gone, disappears with the body. In the past, at least the Brahmana saw the body. This time, there is no body. What has happened? All his shastras disappeared as well. He has no divine weapon left. Everything's gone. He's shocked. But he says, okay, I've got some siddhis. And then Brahmana immediately comes to Arjuna and said, my baby, for the 10th time. And what does he call Arjuna? He calls eunuch. Because Arjuna was given, when Urvashi was upset with him, she said that you will be an eunuch for a year. And Lord Kṛṣṇa told him that that's to your benefit because Arjuna used it as during his Ajnatavas. So the Brahmana is not lying, but it's two strong words. And it's really attacking Arjuna directly. That when Lord Kṛṣṇa, Lord Balaram going to say, why I was so foolish to put my faith in you. Arjuna is what to do. But he's thinking. So he heads towards which loka to get the son? He heads towards the resident of Yamaraj. It's interesting. Normally you head towards a planet where all the living entities would go. So if you want to directly make an appeal to government, you will go to the Senate or some law abiding, enforcing process like to the court and so forth. But he had so much siddhis by the mercy of Lord Kṛṣṇa that he could approach the abode of Yamaraj and, literally like the residence of Yamaraj. And he went there, he inquired, Brahmana's son is not there. He goes to Yamloka's, Brahmana's son is not there. He's surprised. Then where's the son? So he goes to all 14 planetary systems in this material world. He can't find Brahmana's son. And he's like, I don't know what happened. But as per my promise that I will enter the sacred fire and burn, he sets up the fire. He's about to enter and Lord Kṛṣṇa, again, it has happened in the past with Hanuman, immediately stops Arjuna and said, don't be foolish. Even if you enter the fire, people will indirectly, think of you as low. You couldn't deliver your promise. I'll show you where the Brahmana's sons are. Now this is a shari, right? If he gets the Brahmana's son, then he doesn't have to enter the fire. So he's looking at Kṛṣṇa. Save me. And it's so interesting. All of a sudden from Lord Shiva to Kṛṣṇa, the diversion is there. He's desperate, right? This is a matter of life and death. And Lord Kṛṣṇa immediately calls his chariot. Daruka is his chariot along with the 4 horses, and he gets on the chariot with Arjuna and he starts going. And it is said that they cross the 7 Saptadvip and the 7 oceans. So even in the material universe, there are those definitions given. So again, the TAEP coming up, you'll be seeing that map of this universe, where it will be nicely described. So, and as he's going, all the horses they're going through, they come to the edge of this material universe, and that edge is all darkness. And the horses, Lord Kṛṣṇa is acting the role of a simple householder, Kshatriya king. And similarly, his horses, they also transcended just like Lord Kṛṣṇa. Yet at the same time, they behave as if they are just regular horses. And they lost their way in darkness. And showing us that the senses are limited. So they're behaving, showing that behavior, that effect. of this material world. And at that time, Lord Krishna, he invokes who? Sudarshan. And Sudarshan is leading. Su means very nice. Darshan is like one who, reveals very nicely. And Sudarshan is leading the path, blazing like 1,000 suns. And now the horses are following nicely, and they cross over this, the edge of this material universe, and they see the causal ocean. And within the causal ocean, they finally approach a city in Vaikuntha, where Mahavishnu, Lord Mahavishnu, also known as Purushottam. Uttam is important. Tam is ignorance. Put is who's transcendental, so he's transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Such Purusha is Purushottam. Mahavishnu, he is on the bedstead of Anantashesh. And Anantashesh is 1,000-hooded serpent, and with nicely gold-bedecked helmets. And his complexion, Anantashesh's complexion is white. His tongue and his neck is said to be blue, right? The poison. That's why Lord Shiva is called Neelkat, because he stored that halahal poison in his throat and it turned blue. And his tongue is also Anantashesh's. All his 1,000 tongues, which are forked generally, are blue in color. And then it's described how Lord Vishnu he's residing, resting on this bedstead of Anantashesh, and his body, his complexion is that of a cloud, the rainy cloud, bluish. And he's in meditation, and he has got curly hairs, which are flowing on his face, and smiling very pleasantly. So, and Lord Krishna and Arjuna, when they approach, Lord Krishna, being the Supreme Master, teaches Arjuna how to behave. Previously also, Lord Vishnu, when he was hit on the chest by Bhrigu Muni, he conveyed the same way to Goddess Lakshmi by his behavior, right? Because Goddess Lakshmi could become angry because she saw her husband getting away and paying obeisances and saying all those wonderful things. How can she behave differently? She has to follow. Similarly here, Lord Krishna pays obeisances to Lord Vishnu. Now it's interesting that he's doing obeisances to himself. But he's showing by his example that as a human being, as a simple human being, when we approach a higher personality, higher authority, we should pay that respect. So Arjuna, seeing Krishna paying obeisances, pays obeisances to Lord Vishnu. And Arjuna is surprised. We are in spiritual world, Vaikuntha. That's something he didn't know. He couldn't do again. So at that time, Lord Vishnu, realizing why they had come, said, "Oh, I have taken away the Brāhmaṇa's son just because I wanted to do what? To see Krishna." So Lord Vishnu wants to see Krishna because Lord Krishna has 4 extra qualities than Lord Vishnu, right? There is Rupa Madhurya, and that's what is the interest here. Ras Madhurya. And Rupa Madhurya is so beautiful. Lord Krishna is so beautiful, so he's much more beautiful. And then Ras Madhurya's pastimes are full of transcendental melodies. Venu Madhurya, where he is expert in playing flute. And then Prema Madhurya, where he's surrounded by his loving devotees all the time. So in this particular case, when Lord Vishnu is attracted to Lord Krishna, and he says, seeing Arjuna present there, that you continue to, provide or continue to execute dharma as incarnation of Narayana Rishi. And Srila Prabhupada had previously, shared that Narayana Rishi were actually expansions of Lord Krishna. Of course, in first canto, where the expansions of Lord Krishna are being discussed, Narayana Rishi is named there. They are mentioned there. And they are referred to as Shaktaveshatars. And when previously Arjuna and Krishna, they had approached the demigods, the heaven, King Indra's abode, they had gone there as Narayana Rishi, in the form of Narayana Rishi. Anyway, and then Lord Vishnu, he, returns the 10 sons of the Brāhmaṇa. And the verse says, as they aged, they were of age and body. So, in a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam translation, it is referred to as they were born. However, Srila Prabhupada in his translation, Krishna book says, as they were of due age, as they had grown over a period of time. Anyway, Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna, they take the 10 sons back to Dwarka, return it to the sons to the Brāhmaṇa. And at that time, what's the state of Arjuna? He's shocked. He is completely blown away. Now, this also shows and makes Arjuna believe that Lord Kṛṣṇa is very tolerant and he is the ability in man. So he realizes the instructions he had received. So that was the knowledge time when the instructions were given, and this is the realization, Vijnana. Realization, when Arjuna realizes that Lord Kṛṣṇa is the most tolerant and the most merciful, and all the ability in us come from Lord Kṛṣṇa. So today's lesson was more towards tolerance, as long, with his tolerance is continuing to bear all the offenses we make, yet at the same time teaches us by his example how to behave, how to act in this world, in the material world. So we should continue to pray and increase tolerance. But then, as we say, okay, we should increase our tolerance. How can you increase our tolerance? Just practicing it? No. With love. So tolerance is actually a reflection of love. So how do you increase your love? That's the question.
By serving.
Oh. So you increase your love by serving. So any service would increase your love? Or devotional service? Devotional service. Now, how will you do devotional service? You just go and start pushing people around and just start doing it, or?
We serve Krishna with love and devotion that helps us develop those divine qualities also towards other living entities, because everyone is part and parcel of Krishna.
Yes. Yet at the same time, there is a process. Srila Prabhupada taught us the process. And the process is chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, where we pray to get the devotional service, and by serving, it enhances our love towards the Lord and all the devotees and all the living entities. Suridam Sarva Bhutana. Right? And similarly, as our love increases, for that we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And pray to the Lord to enhance our abilities and our tolerance and increase our love towards everyone. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna.
Canto Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nanda Kṛṣṇa ki jai, Go Premanande. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. Hare Krishna.